Representative Chris Van Hollen. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kurt, very much. It's great to be here in Oregon to support the next member of Congress from the 5th District, Kurt Schrader. And it is a long way from Washington, but it is well worth the trip. This congressional race is an absolute priority for the National Democratic Party, but also, I think, for the people of this country who are looking for a change in direction, and certainly for the people of this congressional district. We're all going to miss Darlene Hooley. I think she was a terrific member of Congress, represented this community well, did a good job for her country, but she's going to be very ably followed by Kurt Schrader. She has a very worthy successor. And this is at a time when you know that people in Oregon, like other people around the country, are struggling with the Bush economy. We've seen prices of just about everything going up, rising prices at the grocery store, gas at about $4 per gallon, healthcare costs going up, costs of college tuition in many places going up. Those things are all going up. At the same time, median household incomes are going down, and home values in many places around the country are going down. And in that kind of environment, I think what people are looking for is somebody who's a common sense problem solver. And at the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, when we look at the prospects for various candidates, what we look to see is whether or not a candidate really fits the district. Is it somebody who shares the aspirations of that district? Is it somebody who fits the sort of the political temperament of that district? And clearly in Kurt Schrader, you've got somebody who is interested in getting things done. He's a pragmatist. He's looking for solutions. And I think that's what the people of our country are looking for, and certainly the people in this community, like people around the country. You know his background. He's a small businessman, so he's had to make payroll. He's been a farmer. He knows the struggles many farmers are going through. And I think that experience, combined with his legislative experience, both in the State House and the State Senate, show that he can both identify with the issues that are on people's minds and also take those issues and translate them into getting things done. I've looked at his record. It's a very impressive record in the area of education. Understanding that we got to focus on early education, getting kids off to a good start if we want them to succeed in life, and also helping to cap at the other end the costs of college through your efforts to limit tuition increases to no more than 3%. We're working hard right now in Congress to try and pass a GI Bill of Rights to make sure that the men and women who are returning from Iraq and Afghanistan who have served our country have the same opportunity that veterans returning from World War II had to have their college paid for. Unfortunately, the President has threatened to veto this piece of legislation. We believe that those who have sacrificed their country for their country deserve this opportunity, and we need people like Kurt to help put the numbers together so that we can make sure we get this legislation passed. In the area of health care, Senator Schrader's also had a terrific record in terms of his efforts both for low-income individuals and also for trying to make sure that seniors have access to affordable prescription drugs through pooling mechanisms. And we have a number of ongoing battles on the health care front, including our effort to pass the Children's Health Insurance Bill, which the President vetoed twice, and we need the votes to override that veto in the U.S. House and the United States Senate. Those are just some of the issues on the agenda. We're also trying to pass legislation to help stabilize the housing market. This is an administration that worked 24/7 to help bail out Bear Stearns and Wall Street, and yet is opposing legislation to help try and stabilize the housing market. So many people who, through no fault of their own, got into bad situations, and their neighbors and communities that are hurting can have some relief under certain circumstances. We're trying to get that bill through, as well as trying to move forward on energy policy that makes sense for the future. So we've got a major agenda going forward, and we're looking for people who are interested in changing direction, moving our country forward, people who are problem solvers, not ideologues. And that's why we're so pleased to have the candidate that we have here for the 5th District in Oregon, Kurt Schrader. He's going to be a great addition to the United States Congress, and we are absolutely committed to working in partnership with him to see that he makes this race, and I'm sure he'll make the people of the 5th District proud as a member of Congress. So why don't I just turn it back over to you. I think we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, let's just go to questions. That sounds good.
Can you talk a little bit about just the layout and how many races fit this model here, where it's open, or just how many races you're concerned about or prioritizing?
Sure. There are a lot of races in play around the country. This year's, for instance, we just went through 3 special elections, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Illinois. Those are seats that the Democrats picked up that had been long held by Republicans. Districts that George Bush carried by between 58% of the vote in the case of Illinois, 60% in the case of Louisiana, and 62% in the case of Mississippi. So there are lots of opportunities if you look at that sort of playing field, and the fact that you have 31 Republican members of Congress who are retired and you have open seats. On the Democratic side, you have about 7 open seats, including Oregon's 5th district. And so our priority is to make sure that we are in a position to help those new members of our congressional delegation, our caucus, who come from tough districts, to make sure that we continue to have strong representation from those open Democratic seats like this one here, and bring people to Congress who can really represent those districts well, like Kurt Schrader. And then to also stay on offense so that we can expand our majority so that we're in a position to try and override a veto of children's health, to try and make sure that we can get through the GI Bill of Rights and those kind of major pieces of legislation. So there are lots of seats in play around the country, but this is one of the priorities, an absolute priority. As I said, we think it's had very good representation from Darlene Cooley, and it deserves somebody who can continue on in that tradition of solid leadership.
Congresswoman Hollen, have you committed to a specific dollar amount to help with this race?
Not to a specific dollar amount, and it's important to understand that the DCCC has an ability to help in a number of different ways. One is through what we call sort of the red to blue program, or this one is not necessarily a red to blue program. This is just making sure that we are in a position to hold on to this seat, and we're going to be working very closely with the campaign to make sure that they have the resources available. What we're going to do is call upon Democrats around the country who want to make sure that we continue to implement an agenda for change to support Kurt Schrader and others like him. That whole group of candidates is about a list right now of about 20 people. It's not a huge list, and so we're very focused on trying to make sure that people around the country know this is how they can help us move the agenda for change forward. Later in the fall, depending on how these races play out, the DCCC can get involved in what's known as independent expenditures. Those are not coordinated with the campaign, and at this point in time, it's way early to be making those decisions, other than to say what I said at the outset, which is this is a absolute priority from our perspective, this seat, because we have a candidate that we think fits the district very well and is in a very strong position to continue that quality representation.